let's talk about arrays. What exactly is arrays? It's basically nothing but a collection of similar type of elements. When I say similar type of element, the similar type is the other term to say similar type is homogeneous. There is another kind of data structures also which are called heterogeneous. That means they can have different data type elements, which is more of like a Python list. They are all looks like array, but they can have different data type elements. And one more is, here arrays are dynamically created objects, because if you see when you're creating array also, you will say a new array like that. So it dynamically creates that object. And by default, everything, not only just array, by default, everything will be inherited by object class. And in this case, array implements your serializable as well as clonable interfaces. And as you all know, arrays are in Java are all index based. That means you have to start from index 0 to that particular value. And basically, if you look at not only Java, any data structure, any language which supports data structures, they are all having basically in terms of array two types of arrays. One is single dimensional, another is multi-dimensional. Single dimensional is like, you have just only one index. When you say multi-dimensional, it could be 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional, 5-dimensional. Anything more than one dimension is called multi-dimensional. Now, what is the advantages with respect to array and what are the disadvantages? So first advantage of array is it helps you to make your code well optimized, because you can retrieve whichever data you want and you can sort it also whichever way you want. Like, if you want, you can sort the data effectively. And at the same time, you can access the data in a way you want. And one more thing is here, it is random access. Why? Because if you look at, we will not say if I want to fix the 10th location, I don't need to print the first location, second location, third location, fourth location. I can directly say array of 9 and I directly get the 10th location. So it is like a random access for you. So that way it is very helpful so that you can quickly access the elements of the array. Now coming to disadvantages, first disadvantage is size limit. You can store only fixed elements, because when you're creating itself, you have to mention how many elements you're going to store. Even though we say dynamic, it's a dynamic object, it gets created dynamically, but you have to way before declare so that compiler knows how many elements you're going to create. So that's one con, I would say, or disadvantages. And another thing is, because of this reason of having it a fixed set of elements in it, because you have to declare in the beginning, Java has come up with something called collection framework, where using collection framework, you can make these arrays to grow dynamically. I mean, there we will not exactly call it array. You'll say maybe collection arrays or something like that. But we have similar type of structure there where it will help you to grow array dynamically. Now let's look at this example. So if you want to declare an array, how to do it? So this is for a single dimensional array. You can see that, like I said, there is only one square bracket. So if you see here, there is only one square bracket here that indicates it's a single dimensional. The thumb rule to remember whether it's a single dimensional or multi-dimensional is just by looking at how many square brackets they are putting. So each square bracket, you can count it as one. This is one. Like that, if there is one more, you can call it as 2-dimensional. If there is one more, you can call it as 3-dimensional. So there are different alternatives of doing the same declaration. Either you can say first the data type, then square bracket, then array, or you can first tell the data type, then array, then the subscript notation. You can choose either of it. I prefer this way because here itself you're telling, okay, what is the data type and whether it's single dimensional or 2-dimensional, rather than at the later side. So if you see how to create it, so you can see we are creating an array variable by doing new, then data type of size. So when we say it's a dynamically created object, like in the earlier slide, we made a point here. So what does that mean? We dynamically is this part, because you are creating new and automatically at runtime, that particular memory location address will store here. And when we say it is having fixed elements, that's why we are going to take it collections and all that here, which we said here, fixed elements, and we are going to use the collections. This means that you can see that we have to mention the size. This is what I mean by fixed size. That means during execution, you cannot change it. Once you fix, that's it. So that's what I mean by fixed set of elements. And we have alternative, like using collection, you can make it dynamic. Now you can see that by looking at, you can count how many are there. It is a 2-dimensional. This is 1, this is 2. And there's a different way of denoting it. One, you can say the data type, then these square brackets to indicate whether it's a 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional. Similarly, you have other way where you first mention data type, then the variable, then the square brackets. Or For me, this is actually confusing, where you can say the data type, then square bracket, then variable, then square bracket. So you can say this way also. Always remember, if you miss this, this will become one dimensional. That's why I say it is always confusing for me. In this case, this and this is okay because there's a less chance of me missing out the square bracket. Whereas in this case, if I miss out, this becomes a one dimensional because this is another notation for creating one dimensional, this one. So that's why that is little scary. But this one is safest because as soon as you create data type, you can put the square brackets. So you can see in our example also, we are following the same notation. We are saying int and two square brackets. That means it's a two-dimensional array. And we are saying array equal to new int of 2 by 2. That means it will create a 2 by 2 matrix where it will have 2 rows and 2 columns. Okay, so here, if you look at it, we just instantiated by using new. It dynamically creates an object and gives you that memory location to this array reference or variable. And this one will contain the memory address of it. And it will create a 2 by 2 memory location for you where it has this data stored in matrix format, 2 rows, 2 columns.